The New England Patriots have just made a sneaky good signing of a former second-round pick. We talk about him and why he is such a good deal for the Patriots all today on the show as we welcome you in right here to Patriots Digest. We appreciate you joining us here on this wonderful Thursday afternoon. Hope you are having a good day wherever you might be. Before we get going on the show, I want to recommend you hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free, and that way you are in the know about everything happening with the New England Patriots. So when a practice squad signing happens like this, we get you covered. Now, you kind of heard my voice there. It's a practice squad signing as they have signed veteran safety Richie Grant to the practice squad. Now, I say a practice squad signing, but I want you to not take that and say, okay, well, this guy's not going to help, because there is actually a lot of positive things around Richie Grant, and I'm going to kind of tell you in the show why you should actually be pretty excited about this guy, and I think in some aspects why he could be a key part to the Patriots at some point in this season. So we first start with a report from Mike Reese, who said free agent safety Richie Grant, who started his college career at UCF, then in the NFL was drafted in the second round to the Atlanta Falcons, most recently with the 49ers. He's here in the Patriots locker room. That was yesterday. 6 foot, 200 pounds, 67 games played, 33 starts, 275 tackles, and 3 interceptions. Just kind of as an opening part, the Patriots had an opening on their practice squad, probably a big reason why they ended up making the signing of Richie Grant. We head into our first report here from the Patriots press release, kind of the similar stuff that we just read, but want to get it to you from the actual Patriots website. Quote, the 6 foot, 200 pounder was signed by San Francisco as an unrestricted free agent this past offseason, but he was released prior to the start of the season. Now, why was he released? Well, to be honest with you, he was a great player back in 2022 and 2023. But in 2024, it was an abysmal showing, like legit abysmal. And it's kind of surprising because usually on contract years for a guy who had so much experience and 2 seasons of performing really well, it felt like it was going to be his time. However, Atlanta got a couple of good signings in their safety room in 2024. It kind of pushed him out a little bit, and in that sense, he appeared in all 17 games, but he only had 14 total tackles, 2 passes defended, though, in those 17 games and 14 tackles. But if we go back to his years in 2022 and 2023 when he was a pivotal part in the Atlanta Falcons defense, you can see 70 tackles in 65 in 2023. And the big thing, that 2023 season, he had 6 passes defended. In the 2022 season, he had 7 passes defended. He also had 2 interceptions in 2022 and 1 interception in 2023. So there is a lot of positive in this guy. However, it just wasn't shown in the most recent year, and that's why he was released. So, for the Patriots' sake, why was this signing made? What was the deal? And kind of going around it. Well, I think you first have to kind of know that the Patriots, although their depth chart looks really solid, like it does, especially in the defensive line, in the defensive secondary, you've got Jaylin Hawkins, who's really doing some good things this year. I like what I've seen from him. Craig Woodson's obviously doing what he's doing. And then past that, your depth is okay. We know how the Patriots feel about Kyle Duggar. They were trying to trade him. It didn't end up working out, and I don't think that's for a bad thing, whatever, but Del Pettis has been used here and there. And then Brent Schooler he's a special teamer that you don't really see much on defense. So why was this signing made in some aspects? Well, the biggest reason is, of course, there was an open practice squad spot. And when that opens up, most of the time you will want to go in there. But another reason is Jaylin Hawkins has actually been dealing with a little bit of a nagging injury. Oliver Thomas of Pat's Pulpit talking about it here, saying, quote, starting Patriot safety Jaylin Hawkins has recently been sidelined by a hamstring injury. The organization carried an open spot on the practice squad after releasing 2 and signing tight end Marshall Lang to begin the week, end quote. Now, Marshall Lang as a tight end has kind of been an interesting spot. I didn't want to make a whole video on him, specifically because the Patriots tight end room has been really good, and honestly, the Patriots tight end practice squad spot has been a rotating door. They had G. Scott for a little bit. There was a couple other guys that were in there, so honestly, don't see much happening with him, but do want to talk a little bit more because Richie Grant does strike me as a guy who could be a good piece for this Patriots team. Continuing on here with the report, Oliver Thomas of Pat's Pulpit talking about it, saying, quote, a reduced role came in 2024 behind past All-Pro selections Justin Simmons and Jesse Bates III. His NFL odometer includes 2,479 snaps on defense and 1,071 snaps on special teams. when you're talking about practice squad signings, when you're talking about guys who maybe have some sneaky good intangibles or sneaky good stats they've had in the past, a big thing to actually getting the signing, actually getting on somewhere on the roster, 53-man practice squad, whatever, is to be able to play special teams. And the fact that not only has he had, nearly 3,000 snaps on defense, but he's got upwards of 1,000 snaps on special teams as well, which the Patriots, for as much as they have been healthy, special teams is an area where they want to make sure they have fresh legs and guys that are going to be able to go out there and compete day in and day out. So knowing that there's a potential for this guy to be brought up onto the active 53-man roster at least 2 times before you have to sign him, I should say, to the active roster, there's the ability to, pop him up for a game or 2 here or there. I do want to go back and look at his college stats because there's a reason he was a second-round pick out of the University of Central Florida. We look at all 4 seasons there. You can tell that 18 through 20 was obviously his best years, his best being 2018 with 108 total tackles, 3 passes defended. However, 8 passes defended in 2019 was his career high in college. He had 3 interceptions, though, in his senior year. So each season from his sophomore year to his senior year, he had some sort of career high, whether it was tackles, passes defended, or interceptions. So something good that he seemed to be always improving throughout college as well. Kind of looking at this from an outside perspective, I really do think there's a lot of positives, but I think in some ways that this tweet can describe it perfectly from Seth Main, that safety Richie Grant just signed with the Patriots. It could be a sneaky good pickup. It really could be. If he can play like he did back in the 2022-2023 years. He's only 27, so that's a good sign right there. But that last sentence, and that's the reason that he was let go from the 49ers and the reason that he's just now signing with a team on the practice squad. He was very, very bad in 2024. Now, yes, his spot was somewhat taken, and I think in some aspects, the NFL doesn't go into enough and looking at the mental toll of having a starting roster spot, performing incredibly well, and then the team going out and getting someone just better than you. And even though you performed well, you've got an all-pro now in front of you, and it's really hard to kind of mentally take that. So maybe a new shot, a new chance. Obviously, the thing that scares me in some aspect is that he was with the 49ers. He had the shot there, and it didn't go well. Maybe it's a change of scenery here. I think it's going to be a lot better to have a defensive-minded coach at the helm. Obviously, in the 49ers land, you're going to have Kyle Shanahan, which is much more of a offensive-minded. Now, I know their defensive coordinator there, Robert Saleh, is a great DC. I'm not saying that he's not going to be able to do that, but I just believe that a defensive-minded head coach can sometimes help when you have a player like this in my mind. So let me know your thoughts on this signing of Richie Grant. I know we got some diehard Patriots here still watching, so I appreciate you, and I want to know your thoughts. Grade this signing of Richie Grant, a safety that could be a sneaky good ad for the Patriots. You think it's a great signing? It's an A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know your thoughts. Obviously, great is A, horrible F. Let me know your thoughts on this signing down in the comment section. I think it could be a good move. I really do. Now, I think in a lot of aspects, this is heavily dependent on, what the Patriots safety room ends up doing, what the Patriots injuries look like in the safety room, especially with Jaylin Hawkins. Hopefully he's good to go. I mean, Del Pettis has been able to come in there and play that free safety role in a decent aspect, but knowing that the option is there to have a guy who was a second-round pick, who has the experience, who can be brought up if you need for a game or two, it is something to be excited about. And I think in a lot of ways for Richie Grant, it's okay if Jaylin Hawkins, he's a little banged up this week, we want to bring you up, and we're going to put you on special teams, we're going to put you on this. You got to take advantage of the opportunity. You got to be out there, you got to play your best ball, because if you don't, then they pull you up for a game or two and then they cut you. That's just how the NFL works. It's a business at the end of the day. And while this could be a very good sneaky signing, he's going to get 1 to 2 games of a shot, if that. And you got to make the most of it. So hopefully we get the Richie Grant from 2022, 2023. But if not, hey, it's a practice squad signing. It's not going to cost you much. It's not going to mean much. And at the end of the day, if you release him, you release him. Doesn't really matter that much. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time here on Patriots Digest. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out, guys.